Okay, hello everyone, and welcome again to the Rise of Agentic AI webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Archana Sakpal, and I'm a senior corporate trainer at Exaltius. Last week, we began the series by exploring one important question, that is, what is the real difference between AI, generative AI, and agentic AI? And today, we are going to build on that same idea, but from a very exciting perspective. I hope you can see my screen, and it's flashed the today's session title as No Code Agentic AI, Designing Autonomous Workflow Without Engineering. Now, let me start by asking you a quick question. How many of you have used tools like ChatGPT before? Most people have, right? Where you type a prompt, it gives an answer, and that's where the interaction ends. But imagine something different. Instead of just answering, if your AI is searching the web, reading the documents, and sending an email, it is like completing all this task automatically, and there exactly agentic AI comes into picture. And the interesting part is, many people think that building AI agent requires Python coding, machine learning, and heavy engineering. But today I'm going to show you that this is something really surprising, that you can actually build autonomous AI workflow visually without writing a single line of code. Yes, no coding is required. All right, let's start. So, but before, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and bell icon, so you can never miss our upcoming webinars. We regularly share resources on our channel and quite exciting topics like agentic AI. Trust me, more exciting sessions are coming in the upcoming days. Now, if you can see my screen, I'm discussing on the agentic AI part. What exactly agentic AI? Now, an AI agent is basically, you can say, a AI system which can understand the goal, right? It will break the task into different steps. It can use different tools to execute those actions. And finally, it will adapt based on the result generated. And then there are two ways you can do that. One is with code, and the other one is without. I'll use my pointer, and without code. That means no code agentic AI. Now, with code, what happens is developer using different tools like Python, LangChain framework, or Crew AI. And this approach is giving you a lot of flexibility, a lot of customization. But the issue here is you need to have a developer skills. You need to know coding very well, right? And it is also used for complex production ready systems. However, for the no code approach, which is today's focus, we will be using visual builder tools like Zapier or Flowise or Make.com. And here we are building agents using drag and drop option. You don't need any programming knowledge here. And this is quite powerful because it opens AI development to everyone, business users, analysts, or any non-coder. All the innovators are welcome here. And if you want to be a citizen developer, you can definitely try no code agentic AI concept. Now, talking about a modular agent, how is it assembled? Let me take you to this 4 steps, 5 blocks, which is flashing on your screen. And let me start with the first one, which is goal or prompt. That's nothing but the agent's job. This is the instruction, or I would say objective, that we are giving to AI agent, and it defines what agent is supposed to do. If I'm using Flowise, the goal is basically defined through either by writing system prompt or by writing user prompt. Then comes memory. Memory means what the agent remembers. Now, AI agent definitely needs memory because memory allows AI to remember the context and the previous interactions. And in my Flowise demo, I'm going to use memory in the 2 different forms, like conversation memory, where agent remembers what the user said earlier, and the knowledge memory, where I'm going to build up knowledge base by using different tools. And there I'll talk about vector database and record manager and so on. So there we will upload document, and AI will remember them by using the embedding techniques and so on. Now, moving on, third block is tools and API. Now, tools and API means what the agent can use. Now, AI agent also needs to use tools to interact with the world, right? They are nothing but the capabilities that AI can use. For example, AI can use web search, email sending, or database queries that can be designed using tools and API. Now, next is and so on, right? Now, the LLM does the reasoning and understanding for you, and it decides things like how to interpret these questions, which tools to call, and so on, right? Moving on to the next part, where we are going to understand how agent thinks, route, and act. If you have any questions so far, you can just post your question in the comment box. I am happy to answer your question at the end of the webinar. Okay, let's understand how this AI agent actually works internally. If you look at my screen, this AI agent follows these 5 steps. It's exactly, I would say, a continuous thinking loop, like how normal human solves problem. The same way, it's going to think, route, act, observe, and adapt. Now, if I talk about think means what? You're understanding the goal. The AI first tries to understand what is user asking, what is the actual goal. So the agent starts planning accordingly, right? Then it route means it chooses the right tool. Now AI agent needs to decide which tool should I use. Should I use knowledge base, web search, API, email system, and based on that it will act. The act part means performing the actual action. Now, after deciding the tool, the agent performs the action. Now, this is where agent interacts with your external systems. This could be calling an API or sending an email, etc. Then comes observe, where you're checking the result. After performing the action, agent checks what happened. It, for example, did the web search return useful information? Is the relevant information retrieved from the knowledge base? And then it finally adapt, means it adjusts the plan. Now the agent learns from these results and it adjusts accordingly. And this is where agentic AI system becomes really very powerful. Moving on to my next slide, where I'm giving a clear distinction between low code and no code platform. Both of them are designed to reduce the amount of programming required, definitely, but they are used by two different types of people and for the slightly different purposes. For example, if I talk about no code, they're meant for business users, marketers who do not programming at all. And everything is basically done using a visual drag and drop interface, where you can just drop components, connect them together, and make some simple configuration, right? Here you are using zero programming, but it is having some issue like limited flexibility because you are too much dependent on the tool. If the tool doesn't have those features, then you can't build up really, right? And the examples of no code tools which is flashing on my screen is Flowise, Zapier AI, Bootpress, and today I'm going to use Flowise in this particular webinar. Now, the next part is low code platform. Low code is slightly different. They still provide visual tools and automation, but sometimes you need to write small piece of code to customize the workflow. And they are mainly used by developers, technical teams or ML engineers, right? And then the tools that they are using is N8N, Reboot, and OutSystems, right? Of course, the best part of this type of coding, this type of approach is you have a lot of flexibility. You can customize, you have full control over the development, right? So I would say, in short, no code makes AI accessible to everyone, and low code makes AI customizable for developer, right? Okay. And here the interesting part starts, which is live demo, which I'm going to use and do it by the Flowise version 3. Now that we have understood how agentic AI system think and make decision, let's start. Let's see how we can actually build one. In this demo, if you can see, there are 6 boxes, which is giving a complete idea what I'm going to build up. But let me summarize it for you. We are going to build a search assistant using Flowise, which will act like a smart AI agent, right? It can search the web for the latest information and whatever answer it gets, and it answer questions from even the knowledge base and find relevant content using embeddings. I mean, I'll have to use vector database, embedding techniques, and record manager techniques, which we will be going into the detail and learning about it. And finally, I'm going to use Gmail integration by using Composio tool, where the agent can literally retrieve this information and send it via email to anyone, right? And that is all going to happen automatically. So let's start. Let me open Flowise for you all. Can you all see my screen? I have opened my Flowise window here. Before I directly jump onto the demo, let me explain you what is Flowise. Flowise is one of the very popular open source platform for building AI agents, but using drag and drop interface. Now, it's built on top of framework like LangChain, and it really simplifies the whole process. You can see it's all graphical interface, just drag and drop. One quick thing you need to understand about Flowise is that it can be run in two ways. You can either use Flowise locally on your computer, or you can use the cloud version. Now, local host version means you're running on your own machine, but for that you need to install this tool using Node.js or Docker, and then you have to start the server. Of course, you need to write certain commands for it, which you can get information from anywhere, and then open it on the browser by using the URL localhost colon 300 here 3000, where 3000 is the port number on which it's listening. And the second option is Flowise Cloud, which is a hosted version. And cloud version means Flowise is hosted online. You simply open it on the browser and start building the agents. There is no installation needed, quite easier way to build. But in today's session, I'm already running Flowise on a local version, so we can focus how the agent is built here, right? Okay, now moving on, you can see that there are two different types of flows I can develop by using Flowise. One is chat flows and other one is agent flows. Chat flows are basically used to build a simple AI chatbots, and they are really useful to create a simple assistant or FAQ bots, etc. No complexity is needed over there. And the agent flows is something really powerful, because here we can build a AI system which can use tools, can make decisions, can call APIs, and in short, it interacts with the external system, right? So I'm going to build a agent flow over here. So I clicked on agent flow. Let me start my process. Now I'm on this window. You can see I already built one agent flow over here. To build a new one, which we are going to demonstrate in this webinar, is for that I'll click on add new. And what you see on your screen is a canvas where I designed the workflow. The user interface is quite intuitive, very simple to understand. We can see there's this plus button through which I can add different nodes, right? But before I start adding any node, let me save this and give it a name. So I'm going to give this node, this agent flow, a name called as search assistant. You can see the name has changed. And the first thing I'm going to do is to create the agent node. Right now on my canvas, there's a start node. Okay, let me add a agent node, drag and drop. And let's quickly connect this to my agent node. Now, this is the brain of my AI agent. Once I drag this agent node here, I need to configure few more important things so that I am preparing my workflow in a specific action. So I'll double click on it, right? You can see the name given to this agent is agent 0. I will edit it and I'll give it a proper name. Let's say I'll give it a name as AI assistant. Okay, you can click on this green marks to confirm your step. Moving on, we need to select the model. Now this model is, this tells my Flowise which LLM I'm going to use. In this case, I'm going to use Chat OpenAI. So let's just select from the drop down Chat OpenAI, and this will use OpenAI's GPT model to do the further things like, you know, understanding question reasoning or generating responses. Now these models are trained on a massive amount of data, right? So it can do any kind of task like answering your question or summarizing information and so on, right? Okay, but then you need to configure it. So for configuration, you can expand this Chat OpenAI parameters and then go step by step. The very first step is connect credentials. You can see I already have created one credentials, but I can show you how do you actually create this. This step is important because this is how my Flowise will connect to OpenAI's services, right? And for that, I need to use API key. Now, this API key is basically just a secure access token, right? That allows my application to communicate with OpenAI servers. Where do you find this? This you will be able to see it on platform.openai.com. Now, this key basically here, if you open it, like I have purchased credentials or credits already. So I will be able to see API keys and I'll be able to create one. How do you create it? You can click on API key and create new secret key. You can give some name to this. I'm just giving Open API. Okay. And click on create secret key. Please do copy this API key and go back to your Flowise. Now in here, I'll click on create new because I'm demonstrating you how do you actually do this step. And I'm going to give it a name, Open API key. And Just press the key that you have copied from there and click add. Okay. Now the rest of the parameter you would see is the model name. I'm keeping the model name as it is, GPT-4o mini latest, which is default. Temperature will decide how creative the response should be, and the maximum token, which I'm not changing it. This is basically how long the response can be. You can click outside and save this flow. Okay, but this is not done yet. It is just to demonstrate you that the model has already been set up. Right now, I'll double click on it so that I can continue editing this particular agent, AI assistant. And I'm going to now write the system prompt, because this is deciding agent role. It defines the personality or behavior of my agent. So I will go, if you scroll down here, there's a message section. Under the role, please do select system. And in the content, you have to specify the role as a prompt. I have already written the prompt as, you are a friendly AI assistant. Answer the user's question in a friendly and helpful manner. Now, with this system prompt, I can actually shape the style, tone, or overall behavior of my assistant. Okay, what's next? I mentioned you that this search assistant is going to create a web search tool first of all, because if it doesn't know the answers from its database, it can search on the internet, right? So for that, you can scroll down and click on Add Tools. Right? Tools are very powerful because this makes AI system agentic and can use external tools to get the information. Now, in this case, we are adding a tool called as SERP API. Let's search it from the drop-down menu, SERP API. And again, you need to configure it by setting up its connect credential. SERP stands for Search Engine Result Page, and this allows my AI agent to search Google in the real time. Normally, what happens, language models cannot access the internet directly. But by connecting SERP API, my agent will search the web and retrieve the latest information. But how do I get this SERP API key? For that, you need to go to the serpapi.com, okay, and then click on your dashboard. You need to, of course, create an account. I have already done this to save my time. And then you can create your own private API key. I will copy this key and go back to Flowise, and I'll create a new credentials. I'll give it a name as SERP API, and let me just press this key and click add. You can see from the credentials, SERP API key is available here, right? So now my agent will be able to perform live web search, right? You want to test that? Okay, what we can do is, I will be clicking first of all, please don't forget to save. And you must have noticed that on my AI assistant, I'll be able to see a SERP API icon. Go to the chat window to test whether it is really performing correct actions or not. I'm testing this question. Who won the latest India versus New Zealand 2026 World Cup final? Now, let's see. Since this is something most of us already know, I picked up this question just to test whether my agent is really doing live web search or simply making up things. Oh, wow. It's answering me. It happened on 8th and India won the World Cup and India scored 255 runs. That's perfect. It's working. And so far we have understood that I can create my OpenAI model, set up the system prompt, and then I use SERP API. Hope you guys are connected with me. Please do watch this video completely. It's really very interesting to see how and different tools we can use with this AI agent. Now, another thing is when we use this AI model like GPT, one limitation is that the model does not know the current date and time. For example, if I ask, what's today's date? Let me just ask my agent, what's today's date? And it is answering me 9th March, which is incorrect, right? If the agent uses this incorrect date, the output will be misleading, right? We need to solve this problem by using one more tool called as date and time. How do you do that? For that, double click on your AI assistant, scroll down and add another tool here. Click on add tools and search for date and time. Do you see current date and time? Just select that. It will be giving you current date and time parameters already enabled in your agent. And then just click outside and save it. You would be able to see that the icon appearing here for date and time. And let me test it again. I'm asking same question again. What is today's date? And this time I'm hoping that agent will answer me correctly that today's date and time is 11th March. By the way, if you click on this process flow, you will be able to see all the configuration that you have done for your assistant, AI assistant. And if you click on this square button, you'll be able to see the configuration output, everything in the JSON format like this. Okay. Now, moving on, once we are done with this, a slightly complicated part comes in here is about creating custom knowledge base. For this demo, I'm going to create a knowledge base, and for that I have prepared a CSV file which contains course details. Okay, let me just show you my CSV file. It's a very simple CSV file with only 15 records, which includes course name, category, duration, label, price, etc., etc. Now, how do I create a custom knowledge base? For that, I will save my flow and I go back to the main dashboard. And if you scroll down below, there's an option called as document store. This is the place where I am going to create my custom knowledge base. Now, instead of guessing, instead of just thinking or talking more about it, let's start developing a new knowledge base here. So for that, you can see I already have one. I'm going to create a new one by clicking on add new. Now here you need to give a name to this knowledge base. I'm going to give it a name as course database and the description as course details and information. Just click on add and here you get a empty knowledge base. There's nothing in this. I haven't uploaded anything. I haven't customized it. I haven't processed it. So I'm going to start doing that now. The very first step that you're going to do for developing a knowledge base is you need to upload the data here, right? Which is your own data. And then the agent will be able to retrieve information from your own data. So for that, double click on this course database and you will be landing on this page where you have an option for adding document loader. Now, document loader is in Flowise, we have a lot of document loader. You can see here, it depends on what type of file you have. You know, if it's a PDF, text, CSV, then you have a different document loader. For example, if you have a Word document, you have a docx file. If you have a CSV file, if you have a GitHub or Google Sheets, you can just pick up the relevant one. I'm selecting CSV file because mine is a CSV file. So I selected CSV loader. I'll click on upload file and then I'm going to choose the file, which is this Flowise course database. Now we simply uploaded the CSV file here. At this stage, we are basically adding our course data into the knowledge base pipeline so that my agent can search it from here. However, there is one important thing that we need to understand. With this AI model, they cannot directly read large documents efficiently. So before this data becomes searchable for the rest of the world, it usually needs to be processed and structured properly. So how do you do that? For that, we need this text splitter. A text splitter is nothing but it breaks the large document into smaller pieces, which we call as chunks. Right? For example, if I have a 100-page PDF, I can divide it into different chunks where each chunk is having 500 to 1,000 characters. And that's going to be very useful. Why? Because this smaller chunks, AI model will understand better and the search accuracy will be improved. Now, in our case, I'm not going to use text splitter because my CSV file is already very small and it is well structured. There is no need to break into smaller pieces, but I'm still going to show you that how this agent has already taken care of this. So I'll click on preview chunks and you will see that 15 chunks has already been created. You can see it in the preview. You can scroll down and check it clearly. Okay, if you are done with this step, we are going to process it. Process means I'm going to save this part and let's click on the process. When I click on the process, you see this green dot. This indicates that everything is okay and we have no errors so far, thank God. So now next thing is after I got the file with the chunks, I need to now process it because that's how I'm preparing it for my knowledge base. And for that, I'm going to click on upsert all chunks. I'll talk about what is upsert and all. Give me a while. So I'll click on upsert all chunks. And what you see on your screen is we have processing this data divided into 3 steps: embedding, vector store, and record manage. Now, Embedding means what? Embedding means converting this text into meaningful numbers, right? You know that computers don't understand the text how we human do. So the first step we need to do is we need to convert this text into something which computer understand, which is nothing but numbers, and that's exactly embedding is. And that really helps system to perform the semantic search. So for that, we need to select the embedding providers. In my case, in this example, we are using OpenAI embedding. Okay. And once I select OpenAI embedding, it's asking me connect credentials. So I'm going to use Open API key, which I had used it in my previous model selection. And then the model name is text embedding 3 large. Okay. Now, after configuring this, we are done with the embedding part, right? And then we are going to move on to the next stage, which is vector store. Now, why is this vector database needed? Because here my knowledge will be stored, right? And a vector database is designed so to save these embeddings along with their related text content. So let's click on that. Now, this is allowing AI to retrieve relevant information accurately. And for that, it's asking me which vector store provider you are going to use. In my case, I'm going to use PostgreSQL as a vector database. So let's click on that, right? And let me tell you, this Postgres database is hosted through Supabase. So I need to again carry out a couple of steps to perform or to fill in this credential details. Right. So you guys are clear that we are creating vector database using Supabase. So I'll go to the Supabase first, and then I'll click on dashboard. Now, here, if you can see, I have my organizations, Archana Sakpal's organization already. I click on that, and you need to create a new project here. So I'll click on new project, and let me give some name to this. I'm giving course database, and do not forget to generate a password. Okay, I'm going to copy this password and save it somewhere so that because I would need it to set up the credentials, right? Okay, let me just paste it somewhere so that I won't forget it. Okay, now we'll click on create new project. And this is going to create a project. Creating project is basically nothing but I'm creating my Postgres database, which I can connect with the Flowise, right? So once the project is created, Supabase has already or automatically provided me Postgres SQL database. Now, the next step is how do I get the database connection from here? So if you see here, there's a connect option over here. If you click on that, there are different methods. I'm going to use direct connection and then transaction pooler. Why this step is important? Because this is how Flowise will connect to the database, and I need the connection settings. If I expand view parameters, I'll be able to see I have these settings over here. So I click on user, and then I go to the Flowise, and I will help you create a new. So I'll give a search name as Postgres API, and I'll for the user, right, we will have to go to the Supabase, and you will have to click the user option from here. And in Flowise, while creating the new API key, you will have to paste the user details. Also, you need to click on the, you need to select the password that you have already copied and just paste it here. Okay. And then give a credential name as Postgres API 3 and click add. Now just quickly copy the details, like host will be this, copy it quickly. Then the database name from Supabase is this. And then the port number is 6543. Okay, now once you set up this Postgres credential, let's go and understand Record Manager. Record Manager is basically used to keep track of your documents that has been processed, and it simply avoids duplicate entry. So I select Postgres Record Manager. I'll select Postgres API 3. I'll copy the host from here. The same details you need to use it for the Record Manager and the port number also. Okay, at this moment, you can save the configuration, and the next step comes is upsert. I mentioned you that if we upload the upsert means you are going to update and insert, right? Upserting the data is a very important step. Let me show you what happens when you click on the upsert. This uh, will upload, or the insert if the document is new, and it will just ignore if the document is basically using the old file. So basically, this upsert process is using the document chunks that is embedded, and embeddings are stored in vector database, and then the record manager is tracking the stored entry. If you can see upsert record, 15 records is added. And if you try to upsert again, you will see that 0 records are added and 15 are skipped, because it does simply avoid duplicates. If you just wanted to save, search, I can just search if I have any AI course, and under the retrieve document, I should be able to see the AI courses available in my company. Correct? Okay, now this process is finished, and this is called as knowledge base. My knowledge base is ready, and this entire process is actually a technique called as RAG, retrieval augmented generation. And if you really wanted to deep dive into such topics like RAG and other advanced agentic AI concept, please stay connected with us through this webinar series and visit our website to explore our agentic AI courses, where we cover these topics quite in detail. Right? Now, the next step is I'll go back to my search assistant, and I will have to connect this knowledge base to the agent. So for that, I'll go down, and under the knowledge section, from the drop down, I'll select course database. And it's very important to give some description. For example, I have already written the description that helps my agent to understand what exactly this knowledge base is going to do. This is just mentioning that it's a company training courses, and the agent should search as this knowledge, right? Now, let me save this and try again if I could get the details from the knowledge base rather than web search. So I'm asking, can you list the courses related to programming? Let's see if it works. If everything goes well, then I should be able to see the courses, which is really, wow, it's really simply displaying courses that's there in my CSV file. Now, what if I teach you now, how do I integrate this with the email? That means I wanted agent to send this detail to me via email. And for that, I will be using Composio tool, right? Let's start doing that part. That's the last part of our webinar. So I'll double click on it, and I'll go to the tools section. Okay, we will click on a tools, and let's select the tools as Composio. Okay, Composio, I will open Composio window on my screen. You can see here, you can get the Composio. By the way, it's a platform which allows AI agents to securely connect with external application like Gmail or Google Sheets or calendars and so on. So I'll click on get started, and let's quickly get the API key so that I can connect with it. So for that, you can go to the settings, project settings, and then you can just click on API keys, and you can create a new API key here. I'm giving it a name, flow test, just some random name, and I'll copy this. I'm going back to Flowise, and I'm creating the credentials here by clicking create new and typing Composio key 3. And let me just paste the accurate key here and click add. Yeah, now the next step is, okay, I connected with this cloud platform. What tool you wanted to use? What app you wanted to use? I wanted to use Gmail. So I'll refresh it first and select Gmail from the drop down. Okay. Okay, it's taking time. We'll connected account. Okay, meanwhile, I'll create connected account here. Let me just try again. Gmail. Okay, it's loading. Okay, I'll just quickly show you that how in the Composio you can create the you can connect with the toolkit. So there are all toolkits, and in this all toolkits, I have a Gmail, and from this Gmail, I can see the list of tools. But how do I connect this? So for that, you need to click on add to project, and you can create your auth config details first. I'm not changing these names at this moment, and just click on create Gmail auth configuration. And then you can connect. See, basically, just by creating Gmail auth configuration is not enough. You need to understand that which application you wanted to grant access. So for that, what you need to do is you need to connect the account. And let me keep this name only, or I can just change the name as Archana123 and connect the account. Here it's going to connect with the Gmail, and I will have to complete couple of steps here. I'll select my account, will continue, will let the Google grant all the permission, and finally we will be able to connect the Gmail account, right? So let's see. Okay, the connect account part has been done. You can see user ID is flashing here. I go back to Flowwise, and Flowwise is showing me some issue with the Composia key. Okay, I'll do it again. I will go to the tools, add tools. I'll choose the tools at Composio. We will go to the parameters. We'll select the Composio key 3, and we will try to, oh, great, it's working. I'll choose the Gmail, and I will use the account which I just now created, Archana123, and the actions that I want is only send email. However, you can create multiple actions. Let me refresh it and send Gmail. Okay, now this is done, and I'm going to save this. And the last thing is I'm going to see if this can be, I can send this email. So I'm going to just write that send me about details to my account, which is here. Send me about details to @Sakpal. Okay, as I was expecting, I'll just quickly. The Composia was creating some issues, so just let me stop share and show you this again. Okay, we are on the last part of our thing. Let me just ask it again that I'll ask a new question. Who won Oscars in 2025? Because this is a web search. Let me try both way. And once it's giving me the details, if it managed to give you the details as, okay, best, okay, good, that it is answering me. Let me ask it, could you please send me this detail via email on this email account? Let's see if it's visible. The process flow is working, and it's possibly will be sending me the email, the details of Oscar 2025. Let me just go to yes, you can see the email that I just now received, which is giving me details on who is winning the Oscar in 2025. So to summarize this flow, I have created a search agent flow, and then the knowledge database, and then finally we integrated with the email system. Okay. Yeah, now we are on the last part of our the course. I have just finished the processing, and before we wrap up, let me quickly recap of what we have done. We have just understood what is agentic AI and how do we create this agent flows, and we demonstrated how these intelligent workflows actually these intelligent workflow built using the no code. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time and participation. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box. I will be very happy to answer them later. Also, this webinar is part of our Rise of Agentic AI series, where we explore different aspects of building this intelligent AI system. And we host these sessions every Wednesday. Next session is on Wednesday, March 18th, where we will explore an engineering agentic AI that can be done with which is helping you to create production ready agentic system. And we are also using frameworks like LangChain and Crew AI. Once again, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again in the next session. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.